I'm Chuck and welcome to MotoDay UK. Today I'm just going to be going through what my first experience of riding on the road was. It was my CBT and it went a little bit wrong. So I'd grown up with my mum being quite into bikes. That's how my parents met. She had this beautiful, we've still got it, this beautiful Honda Rebel 1986 American import, the 250. And she's got pictures she would show me of her dotting about places. I remember a story from my gran who was telling me about a time that mum brought a group of about 20 giant, muscly, bearded bikers to the house, and she served them teas and coffees and all of that good stuff, and she said they were lovely. And that's kind of the point where my dream started. I want to be a badass like my mum. So my dad had always been into cars as well. He had quite a lot of his own, and up in a garage, that's where the bike my mum used to ride is the 250. So every time when I started to drive especially, we'd go up to do bits and bobs on the cars, just have a wee look at this wasp-ridden, probably engine-seized bike in the corner going, I want to have a go on that, and I want to fix it myself. When I met Ben, there was kind of that motivation there straight away. Ben rides bikes as his transport normally and really enjoys working on them, so he kind of gave me another little look in on how being a biker actually is, and I still thought I wanted to get into it, so he encouraged me to kind of start up looking at bikes, looking at CBTs, and getting on the road. CBT is a limited licence, so depending on your age you can ride up to a 125, and it lasts 2 years unless you go to do your full licence in the UK. It is mandatory to be able to ride safely on the road. So Ben was booking in for a CBT anyway, he had his coming up for renewal, so we thought we would both book in for the same day. So it was August 2019, plodded down to the training centre about 9 in the morning. So we started off with the instructor in the classroom, went over how much experience both Ben and I had had. Ben has been riding for a few years, but I was just starting out, never been on the roads before. We went over basic theory of safety and all of that stuff, and then popped outside to have a look at the bikes. So out in the yard we went over controls, what all of the buttons do, what the levers do, had to sit on a few bikes to potter around the yard. I ended up on a little Yamaha Cruiser, about 20 years old, because I'm about 5 foot and I wanted something I could comfortably reach my feet to the floor on. So we started going around the yard, just circles and basic manoeuvres, and I started having some issues with the clutch and reaching it. I've got tiny hands. So while I was trying to reach for the clutch, even just to go between first and neutral, I found I was unable to reach the button controls. And the clutch was very stiff for me. I had to lean forwards a lot to kind of get the grip I needed on it or was comfortable with. I also started having issues with the shifter as well. It was a black art trying to get it into neutral after it had been in first, and I had to have Ben help me out a few times to try and kick it into place. So we took a break and the instructor and I tried me on some other bikes, but I wasn't very confident not being able to get both of my feet down. We decided for the road section to go with a 125 scooter, just a little twist and go, so that I could demonstrate safe riding for him on that. So we got out on the road, everything was great, I was really starting to enjoy it and getting comfortable. I had Ben in front of me so I could follow his lines and watch what he was doing, and I had the instructor behind me and in my ear over Bluetooth so that he could tell us what we were doing next. Then we got to a roundabout where we were going straight ahead, got onto the roundabout no problem, but as I was indicating to come off the roundabout I slipped off the rear brake, and the sudden increase of speed kind of freaks me out and I ended up going face first into the verge. Now it was a low speed crash and a soft landing, mainly bruises, but I felt really bad because I'd broken the bike, I'd scared Ben, and worst of all it was embarrassing. So Ben turned around and came back, moved the bike off the road so it was somewhere safe, and I got on the back of the instructor's bike to head back to the training centre so we could get another bike and carry on. So when we got back out on the road, I was very much in my own head. I wasn't focusing on what I was doing, I was getting tired, ended up dropping the bike another time. I just kept thinking about if I am going to ride with Ben, then he'll always have to look after me and I'll be kind of a liability to him. It's not something I should do even though I enjoy it. So I felt really defeated in that moment. I ended up having to go back for a second day. They just wanted to make sure that I was actually just tired and I wasn't lacking in any skill and could be a competent rider on the road. And that kind of let it sit in my head overnight, and I was focusing too much on the negatives. I really got myself down thinking that I couldn't do this and it wasn't for me, despite really liking riding. I thought they were nannying me. Because I was so in my own head about it, I thought I'd fallen off constantly, like 8-9 times. And when speaking to Ben about it after the fact, he let me know it was actually only 3 times I came off, which was a bit uplifting at the time, but I still felt like that was too much to be a good rider. Retrospectively, I know that a lot of what I did was because I was tired and the adrenaline had worn off. I didn't have any lunch that day while we were on break. I didn't really plan for it properly, physically and emotionally, I would say. So going back on that second day and actually having my head screws on in a place it needed to be to get the job done, I can see now that that was a good idea and a good call by the people at the training centre. Looking back on it 6 months down the line, I wish I'd said to myself that it's okay to be tired. It's okay to drop a bike. It's perfectly fine if you need to have another go of it because you're just worn out for the day. The journey of a rider isn't gonna be perfect. You're gonna drop your bike. You're gonna need to pull over some days just because you're shattered. You're gonna need to stop for food and things like that and just set your head straight again to keep going. But the important thing is, a biker gets back on their bike. So even if you're just starting out, get back on your bike. So where I'm at now is I've got my CBT, I've got my own bike, it's got a couple bits to do before its next MOT, but we'll show you that another time. With all said and done as well, if you're going to drop a bike, might as well drop someone else's. Cheers for watching and see you in the next one.